Coming to you live from the One More and I'm Out of Here / Illegal Shift Studios. We are back at you with another back-to-back episode. You weren't here last night.
No, I wasn't here last
night.
But
we had Rich on last night, but we are back at you. And we have a ton of stuff to cover, Andrew.
Yes.
Let's
and I apologize for Jason's delay starting the show tonight.
No,
so let's throw that out there.
I was waiting for it.
Yes.
I was waiting for it.
I just want to apologize to everybody.
You've had
I've been busy.
A fun-filled day.
Yeah, I've had a fun-filled day. Since we last spoke, I was out of town for a couple of days. Everything all right? You hold down the fort okay?
Yeah.
Feeling okay since your scrotum straddled the when you fell through the floor?
Yeah, everything.
Did you recover?
I am back.
Did you recover?
I am back to.
Is everything back to normal?
100%.
Everything's okay? No,
we'll talk.
No problems.
We can ask somebody else later. We'll let you know if it's 100%. I appreciate your concern.
Well, whenever I hear of a fellow brother hurting themselves there, it tends to strike too close to home. So
we've all been there.
Yes. So like when you're watching a movie and you're like, ooh, that had to hurt. So I just wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm genuinely concerned.
I appreciate that. And we are good to go.
Good. Well, I'll just take your word for it. You don't have to do anything else.
I won't show you.
Thank you.
What'd you do today, Andrew?
I am trying out to become a professional truck driver. So, but in a nice car or a nicer car. I went and picked up a new member of the clan, as it were, and I had to drive down to some town in Kentucky just above Bowling Green, and like Standish or Stanside, doesn't matter, and picked up a new puppy dog. So brought him back 3.5 hours down, 3.5 hours back, and a half-hour stop at the Buc-ee's at the exit, just in Nirvana, because I love Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. I've never experienced a Buc-ee's.
Have you not gone to a Buc-ee's?
I've not been to a Buc-ee's.
You're not
yet.
an American.
But I've heard, and I saw your Facebook pictures today.
Stalker.
And when you said joy.
That's what the definition. I don't think the Democrats understand the definition of joy. Joy is when you're at Buc-ee's and they scream out barbecue on the table, and you're like, what? And they're making.
I'm intrigued. I'm
barbecue. And so they may. Look, I'm not going to get too into it. I want everybody to experience it on their own. But they have a tortilla making machine there. They make fresh tortillas, and then they take their tortillas and they stuff them with all sorts of goodness, roll them up, and have them ready to go. That place and their barbecue is excellent. I got a pound of smoked turkey.
I'm assuming you were at the one in Richmond, Kentucky. Correct?
I don't know which one I was at.
The one closest.
No, because I had to go. So the way I went was 71 to Louisville, and then I cut 65, whatever.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Okay.
220, 221.
I know we have one that's close.
Yeah. That one's close. That's like within an hour, which
might just be worth the trip just anyway.
I heard people like taking, like bikers, like going down there and just for, in the fall or the spring. Today it was triple digits the whole way. So I don't know if today was a good motorcycle riding day. But so I was down there. I picked up the dog, put him in the car, watched him throw up twice. And then he got, I felt so bad. I was like, dude. And then he got like, he looked like Mr. Foam Mouth there for a while. But once he tossed his second batch of cookies on the new bed that I purchased the day before, he settled down and went to sleep. And the current dog, or the whatever, the existing dog,
the
is
elder.
like the elder. Yeah, thank you. He's debating if he's going to accept this animal or not, because he was trying to crawl into my lap the rest of the goddamn drive. But it was good. It was good. I just have to figure out a name for the dog. So right now he's dog number 2.
Well, congratulations to the Pappas household.
It was the best. Oh, and you know what? I put in my best effort. I'm very proud. We'll see what happens.
You drove, you sweat your ass off.
Actually,
had to clean up puke.
Well, right. And I told you the last time we had to drive down there just to be interviewed to get the dog. And I was like, why didn't we just buy the dog then? But anyhow, we are where we are.
Yep.
Life
is life.
Life is life. And got him in the house, got him kind of settled. He decided it was a good time then to take a piss in the mudroom, which I was like, at some point you're going to realize you might be too old for a dog. Like, I'm just going to adopt a dog that's potty trained and knows commands and pretty much sits in the corner and, looks at you.
Right.
Whatever.
Well,
but,
I'm glad you got it. I know you were talking about it. You were debating it.
Yeah, we were.
I'm glad you got the dog.
You can come over and babysit, puppy sit, or I can bring him over and let him piss here.
Well, he can play with Brody.
And he can piss here in the house. No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal.
Okay, whatever. So anyway,
we're friends.
But we're back now, and I'm amazed. A short break. Really, I wasn't gone very long, but so much happened while I was gone, and we've been talking about it, commenting about it, and I think the political world is in such a different place today than it has in any other point in my life. I mean, we have. We talked about it, the possibility. They were tingling with the possibility of the announcement, but then it came out on Friday, and I got to tell you, RFK Jr. is despite his his voice and that it's messed up a little bit, and sometimes it's difficult to listen to him. He just eviscerated the Democrat Party. I mean, he just absolutely destroyed the Democrat Party, and the only people left as Democrats that I can see in very objective eyes is just your radical leftists that I hate Trump. I mean, that's it. The one thing unifying them is that they hate Trump.
They hate a person. They don't hate the ideas, or they hate the person.
They hate the
orange man.
The orange man bad. But let me say this: if you would have asked me in my lifetime if I would have thought there would be a Republican candidate at any time during my life that could pull a lifelong Democrat, not only to endorse him and then campaign for him actively, but then a former Democrat congresswoman from Hawaii, military veteran who's come on board as well. And these people are now actively campaigning for Donald Trump. You want, the Democrat mantra, I'd like to mention this to all those independents that are, debating or at least sticking their finger in the wind. If you want to look at a party that is a big tent party, that is inclusive, that is diverse, you need to look no farther than the Republican Party. The Democrat Party is the party of strict absolutism to the Democrat mantra and the Democrat ideals. I had a former employee, because I sold the business, but I went by the shop, and Terry's worked for me forever, and I love Terry, but she's a Democrat, which is fine, and I defended her when she wore her Obama shirt into work, and some of the customers were razzing her, and I said, hey, listen, not in here,
right.
She has the right to support who she wants, but she had a Kamala shirt on. And I started giggling because I was like, yeah, I figured you'd wear something like that. I figured I had to be there that day. But I just asked her, I said, so you're a big Kamala fan, huh? Or is it Kamala or Kamala or Camilla? I didn't really know, but and I pronounced it every which way I could just to get under her skin.
Camel toe.
But I said, so you're a big fan? Oh, yeah, I love her. I said, well, so you voted for her in the primary? And all I got was goat eyes. Well, but I couldn't vote for her in the primary. I was like, yeah, exactly. I said, so she got no votes, right? I said, just do me a favor, list her accomplishments, would you? I just want you to, what's her biggest accomplishment you're proud of? Goat eyes. She's not Trump. Okay, I get that. And I know we have some clips we're going to play here, but the funniest thing is if you ask most Kamala supporters, that rabid Democrats are the only ones left in their party for all intents, because they've pushed everyone else out. What has Kamala done? You get some really funny answers. So if you want to roll with that,
yeah, we'll pull this one. This one is one of my favorites.
It's just giggling.
His biggest accomplishment to date as vice president.
I don't know. I don't feel comfortable doing this anymore.
She's
She's she was a very good vice president.
That's an interesting question. Getting to vice president.
I have to do more research on her, honestly. I'm just glad to see a woman of color in charge for once. That's it.
I haven't followed her political career that closely.
That's a good one. I don't know.
I don't want to do that.
I mean, there you go.
I don't want to do this.
I mean, that's in a nutshell. I mean, you go and so anyone that's out there, we have Labor Day coming up, right? Big holiday here in the States, and anyone that's at an event, there might be a family event or picnic or whatever, and you'll have your typical, everyone has at least one friend or family member that is a bit behind the times and not particularly smart politically, so they support Kamala. And at the end of the day, just ask those questions. Ask the son, say, oh, you know what? You love her so much. Did you support her in the primary? And they'll just kind of look at you, and then you can say something along the lines of, well, just tell me the top 5 things she's done that you really like, and they'll just be like, I got nothing.
So it's funny this weekend, and I don't say where I work, and it doesn't matter.
Matter.
But I was at an event, and the amount of Kamala shirts, Kamala Walz shirts that I saw.
Yeah. You get union guys.
And I was
just plugging.
I was working. Yeah. So I'm obviously not going to engage.
No.
But
smartly.
But you can sit there and look and read a room. And you're like, some of these people have no clue. No clue what is happening in this country right now. And I mean, this is unprecedented times in the way this election is even happening.
Oh, well, yeah, we discussed that. So we're in unprecedented times. The way the Democrats, and that caused the RFK deal. So RFK, it was wanting to be in the Democrat primary for president, and they boxed him out.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him.
They also, coerced social media to drop his feed or lower his feed and suppress, I guess is the right word. And RFK was total. I mean, you talk about a family that is just historically and just known. I mean, not only a family, but RFK Jr. I mean, I think the man has some credibility politically as being a lifelong Democrat, and the Democrat part. When you have like the memes that are going around, but it's just quite simple. When you have Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the man who lost his uncle to a sniper's bullet, who lost his father to an assassin at a political event when he was pretty much on the rise for the office. And he says, I don't recognize today's Democrat Party because it shifted so far to the left. You have to pause and actually you have to listen. And that's not partisan. That's just life, man.
Yeah. If anybody can say it, and if anybody has lived it.
Yeah.
And when he says what he said, you have to, you sit back and you look and you're like, wow.
And so,
this is the world that we're living in.
Right.
Right now.
And you have, not only is he campaigning, but he's going to be part of the transition team. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's not a bone. This is substantive involvement, and so is Tulsi Gabbard. So I'm just everyone thinks, and the Democrats and the press, and especially the local liberals who chew on shoes, they love to say, oh, the rabid MAGA right-wing extremist Republican Party. Objectively, I wish 513 was up here, because not that he can be objective, but I'd like to hear him say, yeah, I mean, he wasn't really a Democrat. I mean, we have a party that has reached across the aisle that is, it is not the Republicans and the MAGA, and these people are diehard Republicans that have embraced Donald Trump, and Donald Trump has brought into the fold the likes of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Tulsi Gabbard. Elon Musk was a Democrat. I mean, this is an amazing, we're living in an amazing time, like you said, historical times. I think that if this country's around in 50 years or 5 months, who knows, but they'll look back at this whole election and the coalition that Trump has brought together, and that it will be studied. So, I have a lot of local Republicans that, and that we do stuff in the party. And, man, I got to tell you, it's there. These people would never work with they would never necessarily consider working or reaching across the aisle. Some of them are quite purist in the fact that if you don't agree with everything they say, they'll throw out you're a rhino label or whatever, which I think is misused quite a bit. But how would you describe Donald Trump then? The man that you have, MAGA on your car and blah, 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 and his sign in your yard. And, he's reached across the aisle and he's made a coalition.
Former Democrat.
Right. Former Democrat.
That said, you know what? I don't like the way this stuff's going.
Right.
And he's what I've
it's a
loved,
deal maker.
what I've loved about him, when he ran and won,
right,
it was he's not a politician.
Not a politician.
He's a businessman. Gets stuff handled, gets stuff done, deals done. And I firmly believe, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said
RFKJ.
FK.
If you're cool.
RFK.
RFKJ.
But he had made the statement and I think it's in one of these videos that we have, but I'm not positive. But it was an interview where he was like, I truly believe that if Trump gets back in the White House, he's going to have a meeting with Putin, and that war's done in a day.
I don't know if it'll be a day, but it'll be very quick. I think that.
But that's
right.
what he said. But I mean, I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I think that
he's done it before.
He's done it before. And everyone forgets that the Ukrainian war pretty much started because of Biden's initial statement where he said something along the lines of, I'm not going to get involved in a slight incursion or a temporary incursion into Ukraine, or however he phrased it. And Putin picked up on it and said, well, he's not going to do anything, so I might as well do whatever the hell I want to do. The staggering amount of money that's gone over there that has been unaudited and is untraceable and has disappeared down that rabbit hole, a country known for corruption, how much money went to the Biden family, and Joe Biden getting the prosecutor fired for investigating his son. I mean, this is stuff you might think you'd read and you say, there's no way this could happen in the real world. Well, folks, it's happening in the real world, and we're living it. And I think he would get the Ukrainian war ended in a very short time period. I think also that he would be able to, although it's a much more complicated situation, I think he would be able to get the Israeli-Gaza conflict under some sort of timetable for resolution. I'm not saying solved. I just believe Donald Trump would be able to negotiate something.
Bring him to the table.
And get him started working. And what we have now is Joe Biden was in California on vacation, came back, went to Delaware, went straight to Delaware on vacation. He was asleep on the beach when Donald Trump was in he was over in laying the wreath at Arlington for the 13 service members that he was invited by their families to come to the ceremony and honor the 13 people that were killed during Joe Biden's very botched, very poorly executed, horribly run withdrawal from Afghanistan that we now see videos of being shared of U.S. technology, most specifically Reaper drones, on parade in China or maybe in Afghanistan, but it's going directly to China, of our very advanced technology that they can then take apart slowly and reverse engineer just about every bit of it. So, enjoy that. It doesn't make the world a safer place, I can tell you that. We have so many videos to go through. Jason's struggling here to find them.
I know, I'm trying to find them.
I bombarded him today with a lot of videos, and
I like that.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I haven't thrown out a whole lot of those, so bear with me.
Let's see, where's that?
But it's just sad we are where we are. But like we said, if you really want to come down to it, the truth is that it's the fact that it's this close, the fact that we're having this discussion. I think Kamala is having her first interview.
She's scared shitless.
Well, she is, but she's having her first interview this weekend, I believe. It might be, and it's with CNN. But guess what? She's not going alone. You keep going to the same videos I'm watching, and you're like, okay,
I know.
I gotta get you a bigger screen.
You're doing great.
This is called stretching.
You're doing great.
The video queued up.
Yeah.
All right, let's read this. Play this.
It's not very big, but again, if you paid attention to the news, you saw them parading all this shit down the streets. Everything
that is a Reaper drone, and it is very high technology. And they're going to, much like, do you remember when I forget, I think it was under Clinton, and it may have been under Obama. I believe it was, we had one of our stealth drones crash in Iran, I want to say.
I believe you're correct.
And they then, like a very short period of time afterward, they displayed a static display. And then now, if you follow the timeline, where is most of the drones being used in the Ukrainian conflict by Russia are coming from
Iran.
Yeah. So
Weird. So
weird how it works out like that.
Strange.
Yeah, because they were known for their drone technology before that. Come to Iran and buy a drone.
No, that's up. No, that's down. Oh, that's up. No, that's left.
You
That's
idiot.
right.
They throw him off the building.
Right. No, it's watching all that stuff. And, one of our first live events with One More, we had Lieutenant Colonel Stu Scheller.
Yeah.
At the varsity.
Good man.
And hearing and talking with him, and I stayed in contact with him.
Yeah.
And the way, because he voiced up, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because you have some military personnel that don't agree with what he did.
They don't agree
because he broke.
Yeah,
he broke chain of command.
Yeah, I've talked to them, and you're right. They don't. They how do they put it?
They agreed with him. They didn't agree with how he did
his. Right. They don't agree with his method because they thought he should have done it a different way. But they understand his frustration. And, I'm not in a position to judge because I'm not a member of the military. However, I think it's important to understand that sometimes you see something and experience something that is too far for you to go through the proper etiquette and chains of command and procedures to get it notified. For example, there's a reason we have whistleblower designations, because sometimes those people try to go through the chains of command and they're ignored and looked over and brushed under the rug. So I'm not here to judge Stu Scheller for his and he paid the price. He knew the risk. He paid the price, but at the end of the day, he saw a great injustice that can never be defended by anybody. And we are where we are in Afghanistan because of it.
And we're seeing it. Yeah, we're honoring the 13 that passed.
Yes.
3 years ago.
Yes.
But then also,
and Joe Biden was asleep on the beach, and Kamala was somewhere else. I think she was on the campaign. She was too busy. She just couldn't make it.
And right in front of our face, all of our equipment is being paraded.
Right.
For hey, look what we have now.
Well, there's that doesn't even include. I sent you an article that has the list of the number of weapons, but I mean thousands, hundreds of thousands of rifles and pistols and ammunition, and a lot of that stuff's making its way. It's being sold by them to raise currency, and terrorists are buying a lot of it. And this is military grade hardware. So, enjoy. This is what happens when you, and the one part that pisses me off the most about that whole thing, not that I'm a strategist or a military guy by any stretch of any imagination, but it was my understanding, and I've heard Trump say it, he was going to keep Bagram Air Force Base because it is very close to China. It is away from the population center, so it's easy to defend, and it has one of the longest runways in the world.
And it's a great hub.
And it's just you can fly there. I'm not flying there, but it's just was one of those things that we could have maintained a very, very key presence in the region without it being like in downtown, Baghdad or downtown, Islamabad or Goatstan or whatever the country
Right.
is. So, I mean, you wouldn't be subject to, meaning a military outpost isolated like that is number one, easy to defend. It's easy to keep isolated from the population, and you would be able to maintain it with very little chance of a suicide bomber necessarily driving a car by a wall and blowing it up.
Right. And the way I understand it is it was essentially a small city. It
Right.
was,
Well, yeah. It was.
there were thousands of our troops.
Yeah.
That would come and go.
Yeah.
But that's where the hub part comes in. They get dropped off, they get briefed, and then they go on to whatever mission.
It was very close to China. Could you imagine what intelligence we'd be able to, like the Chinese are buying up our farmland here in the United States. God knows what some of it's next to military installations. I don't know what intel they're getting from that, if any. They also tend to like balloons a lot and fly them over.
and
we let go completely across the country.
We like them apparently enough to just let them go.
Well, who doesn't like a balloon? To put rainbow colors on it, we'd never shoot it down. All I do is put it. They would have flown it during Pride Month. Would have been a crime to shoot that thing down. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna look at the pretty balloon.
I wish I know we were hitting that, because I have a video of Rob making his own threat assessment of a balloon.
Oh, Rob. Well, it's we are, like I said, we're in an interesting place. We're living in historical times, and yet still, you and I, who don't agree on everything politically, we'd be like, this is a slam dunk. I mean, this election, why are we discussing who we're voting for? Yet here we are, and Kamala Harris has a very real chance of winning. Now, I will say this.
And because we don't trust the election process anymore.
No, we don't trust the election. Well, I just saw a story that is shared on our East Side page, Republican Club page, that
oh, you want to talk about that too?
Well, I mean, I didn't send the video to you or the story to you, but there's a lot of chatter about, and I did listen to a program today. I listened to a radio show while I was driving 7 hours, in between my Bucky stop. Did I tell you how clean the bathrooms are at Bucky? Anyway,
I can only imagine.
They're spotless. I mean, it's a pleasure to relieve yourself at Bucky's, but yeah, the fact of the matter is that there are states. Years ago, the federal government put in a thing called motor voter. And what it was designed to do is that when you got your driver's license, you were automatically registered to vote, or at least the process was started to make it very easy to vote. Now, what they found is that in many states, and I don't know that Ohio is one of them, this process is being abused by illegal immigrants that are not allowed to vote. Yet they are getting on the voter rolls because of this motor voter law. And in Virginia, I listened to Governor Youngkin, and I can't remember the number, but it was a staggering amount of voters that they've found that are not legal residents that are on the voter rolls. So we have, it's 2024. You think we could get this crap figured out, right? You would be wrong. You would be wrong. We're in worse place. I think we're in worse place because I think we've embraced technology that might have been touted as making it easier, but if anything, it didn't. And I saw, when we're going to touch on this. So regarding voting, now I was a precinct judge, okay, and what that means is in every precinct there's a Republican judge and a Democrat judge, and you are running that inside of that precinct. Your word. Now, it's not one of you, but you guys run that precinct. You're the quote unquote the law inside there. Well, when you leave, and one of the things, so in Georgia they had Georgia had some voting problems. Let's just say that. If you saw the videos, Georgia, for some reason, they've had problems, and they passed laws to straighten out those problems. However, there's been a delay in implementing the laws that the legislature passed because the election board was having the Georgia election board was having problem coming up with ways to comply with the state law that had been changed. Now, one of the laws that's been changed that the Democrats are going absolutely nuts about, and this is why I mentioned I was a precinct judge. So basically, at the end of the night, what you have to do, what we used to do, this was before it was electronic. We had the actual ballot cards that used to darken in the little, the little thingies. Actually, it was before that. It was the Chads.
Yeah,
we
the
had
Chads,
the punch
the
Chads.
hanging Chads was
The hanging Chads.
issue.
I remember that guy in Florida. I wonder what he's up to. The guy with the one eye, the guy that kept holding it up. So anyhow, I wonder if he parlayed that into any money. But anyhow,
he's got great outerwear.
I mean, I wonder what he. Anyhow, sorry, I digress. I get easily distracted. So at the end of the night, what you're supposed to do, we did, is that, okay, in this book, how many ballots did you hand out, right? And then you subtract out the soiled ballots. It's not like your shorts. It means someone made a mistake and they needed a new ballot. Well, you call that a soiled ballot. You subtract that out, and then you go to the machine and you see how many, and so you count the number of cards. You physically count them, and then, or you account for them, and because they are numbered, and then you go to the machine, and they better coincide. Meaning, if you passed out 100 ballots, at the end of the night at that machine, the number of votes that you're turning in, you better have 100 votes, or else you got a problem.
Yeah.
And that's what delays the votes. And then if you do check out, if you do balance, right? It'd be called balancing. If you do balance, then you are allowed to take your duffel bag, and the two of you drop it off at the drop-off point, where then other election officials transport it and the hard drive that's attached to the central voting office. Okay.
See, that's interesting, because I did not know how
voting works.
All that worked.
Okay. Well, in Georgia, they didn't have that law in place. So at the end of the night, they just took the bag. They didn't do any even rudimentary balancing, and they took the bag and dropped it off, and we're all good. Well, no, you're not all good, because if you're turning in the improper amount or incorrect amount of votes, that leads to fraud. Exactly. So they passed a law in Georgia saying you got to balance. And we've been doing it in Ohio for I don't know how long. It's not, when I tell you it's not difficult to do.
This doesn't seem like rocket science.
No.
In the fact that it shouldn't have been across the country. Anyway.
Well, but each state, each legislature in every state, that's why when you have judges making voting law changes during COVID at the 11th hour, that's why that's illegal, because actually, per the Constitution, only state legislatures have authority over the voting processes in the state. It can't be changed by a state judge.
Which this is why I'm just a dumb fireman paramedic.
Yeah,
but I had no idea that was not
universal.
No,
I mean, every state's different.
It should be.
Well, and there's a lot of shoulds and woulds and coulds.
Exactly.
But so this is what the Democrats are going nuts about and suing in Georgia. And you have the story there. You got it pulled up. Yep. There's no video with it, I don't think.
No.
But people can see it. I mean, we're talking very, very simple. Why didn't you tell me I'm halfway out of frame? Jeez, Pete, let's go the whole show. My mom watches this so she can see if I'm fatter than I was yesterday. So at the end of the day, and the answer is probably. At the end of the day, this is simple stuff. This is high school math stuff.
Well, they're calling it rule for reconciliation prior to certification.
Yeah.
Which to any normal person, that seems to make sense.
This is what your Democrat Party is doing in the election process. And it's funny that they claim they throw the label out. Republicans are fascists because it sounds cool and it gets people energized. It gets their rabid base engaged. But at the end of the day, this is not something we should be disagreeing on. That's why I was kind of hoping 513 would chime in here. This is not something rational people have a problem with changing, because on both sides, you want to trust the election process, I would think. And the other thing is that, they're making big hay out of this. They're doing it in every state. There's lawsuits flying back and forth. And attorneys are making a ton of money on this stuff. But
which for them, that's just easy money.
Easy money.
Hey, we'll plead your case for
we'll plead. So we'll see what happens. I hope they get it straightened out before the election, but that's only here in Ohio, we start voting October 9th or 8th or 30 days prior to the election.
I was going to say, I thought it was a month.
So it's coming up here. So we're almost in September. So we literally have 30 days before you start voting. I would like to think they have this solved by then. The other story we have is that your Democrat Party that is supposed to be, that throws the label of fascist and all these other.
Bosco said since he is somewhere crying his communist tears.
It probably is. So
nicely played, Bosco. I love you.
I love it. The other thing is the Democrats now, since RFK announced the suspension of his campaign, and it's called a suspension, but for all intents and purposes, he's canceling his campaign.
I did want to ask you this.
Oh yeah,
before we go in.
I'm sorry. So we'll pause there. Hold on.
Well, I was very confused with suspending the campaign.
Yeah,
his name can't be. If I understood the way I heard it was, his name would still be on the ballot in swing states.
Well, he wanted his name removed from the ballot. And so he could, from my understanding, is he could say to those states, I've suspended my campaign. Now, there could be the reason someone would suspend rather than canceling is there's probably, well, I'll answer that if you shut up.
I know.
The reason is, and I don't know the exact answer, but I would say it probably has something to do with campaign election finance laws, because if you suspend your campaign, then you might be still allowed to make campaign expenses and use your donations for campaign expenses.
Okay.
But if you cancel your campaign, then there might be a question of returning donations and blah, 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 and reporting and
that
blah,
makes
blah,
sense.
blah, blah. But what the Democrats are doing now, since they've proverbially shat themselves over this issue and his endorsement of Donald Trump, they're suing to keep him where they were originally suing to keep him off the ballot as an independent. Now they're suing to keep him on the ballot because they want to muddle the voters that aren't aware and will still go in, even though he's campaigning for Donald Trump. There will be a sizable number of people that walk in on election day and say, I'm voting for RFK Jr. And they'll be like, but he's not running. Oh, but no, his name's on the ballot. I'm going to vote for him anyway. And what states? Well, we have Michigan, Gretch the Wretch.
Gretch the Wretch. Dude, I love that.
Gretch the Wretch, Gretchen is keeping him on the ballot in Michigan. And lo and behold, Wisconsin.
Weird.
Yeah, weird how that works. So, whatever. The Democrat Party is just simply devoid of any character. And this is my opinion, but it's pretty well backed up by their actions. They are a moralists, completely devoid of any character whatsoever, and will lie, cheat, and steal to get any election possible. And the reason I say that is that we have another story that we'll parlay into here regarding a reporter that was reporting on a reporter for, who of all places, PBS, that lovely, lovely, lovely entity that your tax dollars support. And her name is Judy Woodruff, I think is how you pronounce it. And she had a story that she did at the Democrat convention. And she made the assertion that, there it is right there, Judy Woodruff. So she made the assertion that Donald Trump had contacted, so you guys don't have to read all this. Donald Trump, and there she is. Look at it. She wants, I think they're about to kiss. Go back out to the picture.
I think they're about
they look like they were going to kiss. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think they were going to kiss. I'm not, she's looking and yeah, come on. So she did a story and she made the assertion. She said in the story, it's been reported that Donald Trump contacted Benjamin Netanyahu not to do a peace deal, not to solve the hostage crisis during the Biden-Harris administration. And then when pressed afterwards, she said she read a report from Axios. Okay. The one problem with that is there was never a report by Axios. Axios came out and said, we never reported that.
Right.
That is a lie. So then what did she do? So she does this piece on at the convention, reports it on PBS, then as a correction, and she doesn't even correct herself. Rather than say, you know what? I'm a slob and I'm a rabid Democrat and we lie, cheat, and steal. She says, she sends a tweet out saying, I was mistaken, but I based my mistake because I saw that it was a report by Axios and Reuters. And Reuters was just repeating Axios's thing, but Axios never ever even said it. So rather than have the Nads to come out and order a full retraction on air in print, what they do typically is you'll see a tweet done in the middle of the night. Well, who's going to follow this droll on Twitter?
Right.
So who's going to see that?
Well,
so
it's PBS as well.
True, but a lot of people don't have cable, so they watch it, and they sit there and they do this crap. And this is the typical. And she is a Democrat operative. I don't care what anyone says. She is a member of the media. It's the media bias that is pro-Democrat, as we reported last time, with the 83% positive Kamala stories, 87% negative Donald Trump stories. And this is the kind of crap that goes on. Yet the Democrat Party wants to call Republicans fascist and not have free and fair elections, and then fight them on things like just balancing the ballots at a polling place. That's too difficult.
So here's her. I want to
that pisses me off.
I want to clarify my remarks on the PBS News special on Monday night about the ongoing ceasefire talks in the Middle East. As I said, this was not based on my original reporting. I was referring to reports I had read in Axios and Reuters about former
Reuters, stupid, not Reuters. Reuters, what you do to your toilet.
Whatever.
All right.
About former President Trump having spoken to Israeli Prime Minister.
Yes.
See, fuck me up.
I'm helping you.
Don't correct me.
All right, whatever.
In the live TV moment, I repeated the story because I hadn't seen later reporting that both sides denied it.
Right.
This was a mistake, and I apologize.
Okay, this was a mistake that you apologize for it. But she said, I was reporting to reports I read in Axios and Reuters. That is a lie. There were no reports in Axios and Reuters. So my point is she lied, and then she lied about lying, and this is what they do. This is the Democrat Party. So that might be why the election's so close, because anyone, if they had, any objectivity or did a little bit more research or a little more involved, they would see that what's going on in this country is just nothing more than a dog and pony show.
Yeah, it's
and did I mention that? Yeah, we talked briefly. Kamala's coming out. She's having a presser, or she's doing an interview, not a presser. She can't do a presser because she's too fundamentally dumb. But so Kamala is going to have an interview. However, being the very strong and independent woman she is, guess what? Is she doing the interview alone, Jason?
Nope. Sure not.
She's bringing her sidekick. She's bringing her VP candidate. She has to lean on her man because she's too weak to do an interview independent of her man, who I might add, her man. Don't you talk about my man like that. So I'll tell you this. Have you seen, I love how we're doing some good flow here.
Yeah.
It is nice. It's flowing nicely. Have you seen the video? Speaking of her man, have you seen the video of her man yanking the arm off of his child?
Dude, so
I didn't mention, I'm on a roll tonight, which is funny because I just came in hot.
You're fucking always on a roll.
No, I came in hot. I catch a number 3 wire, but I didn't say anything during the convention because first of all, I know nothing of Tim Walz's son. I didn't know that he has some sort of learning disability or it might be autistic. I'm not sure. They mentioned it in the press, but I didn't catch it, nor do I care. I saw a son that was very excited about his father.
Very emotional, which is I would be emotional if that was my father.
You know what? If my father finally did something to be proud of, I would be as excited as he was. So at the end of the day, I was excited for his son. I didn't even comment on it. It didn't even register in my small brain to go there. However, what did register in my small yet powerful brain is that when he on the stage, he jerked the batshit out of his son's arm. And no one has said anything about it. And I was like, to me, that is a giant red flag because I got to tell you, I wouldn't yank my dog, since I do have a new puppy. If I saw someone yanking their dog collar the way he yanked his son's arm on the stage, I might have to go over and have words with that person. So all of you folks that think that Tim Walz is the greatest thing since sliced bread, you may want to check this. We do have video on this, and you can look at it at your leisure, correct pronunciation, and you can tell us what you think.
And I am going to implore you to, once we play this,
Don't ever implore me.
Follow this guy. This video is 12 minutes long, but apparently this guy.
Yeah, he has a long. He does dissect it quite well.
He's a body language expert, right? So I watched most of it. I missed the last like 2 minutes because we were getting ready to go live. But the way he breaks it down, we're only going to show you a quick snippet, but you'll see where to find this guy. But just watch it. I mean, it was actually very interesting to me to see how this guy can. I mean, he's looking at Walz's facial expressions before even before he yanks his kid. It's kind of neat to see the psychology broken down, whether you believe it, whether you don't, but just give it a look. But we pulled just a snippet out of it.
Yeah. You tell me what happens.
Watching him, and well, there's the yank. We're gonna see it in slow motion again. We're gonna make a complete analysis of it and Tim Walz's expression right there, and then they pose for the photograph. And okay, that's it. That's what we're going to look at today. First of all, some people, I'm going to reveal what was my first impression upon it, and what's the problem. A big problem that I see every time someone shares any kind of clip of any person on X or YouTube is that the quality of the original clip that everybody's watching it.
Yeah, so this guy analyzes it. I saw it in real time, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was just like, "Whoa!" But
I think everybody saw it, and they're
No,
like, "Dude, what the fuck is he doing?"
he just, I can understand maybe being short or whatever. This is just a red flag. Now you couple that, and we didn't even include. I could have sent you 6 stories today. He lied about his service rank when he got out of the military. That was a lie. He's continued that lie, although Kamala's page has scrubbed that lie from their page, so they've withdrawn or at least changed their description of his rank. And my understanding is when you get discharged from the military, you get is it a DD 214?
DD 214.
Yeah. So that would clearly show. I wish he'd release it because it would show his rank. You're not a general. You're a corporal or whatever. But the other thing is he also claims on his, and this was verified as well, claimed on his webpage that he had received some sort of accolade from the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce. Well, they had to issue a statement said that's an absolute falsehood. We've never issued Tim Walz any sort of commendation, accolade, award, anything, and he had to change that. I mean, there's a pattern of lying with this guy. There's now appears to be he has some sort of problem with maybe patience. Maybe he's not the most empathetic person. I'm not sure. I think he's a lying sack of shit, but that's just my personal opinion.
So I'm gonna go back into my childhood.
Oh,
and when I see
back in the Wayback Machine,
when I see him,
yeah,
and him talking about being the football coach and this and that.
Oh, that was the other lie.
I literally see him.
The other lies. Thank you for reminding me.
I see him in a pair of McGregor shorts.
Oh, jeez.
The turf cleats, jacked up socks with the stripes around
way socks.
But a mean motherfucker when he gets home.
Yeah, he's just like a guy. As soon as the door closed, he's just a bitter, angry man. But as soon when the camera's
cool to
on,
the parrots. He's cool to the parrots.
But he's
as you're
just
picking your kids up,
just a jerk.
But then beats the shit out of. I'm not saying that he beats his kids. Don't take it that way.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
But he has like just that mean
streak that you could see it there when he didn't think.
His face.
You could see it in his face. There's something, even though he looks like Richard Simmons without hair when he comes bebopping out, right?
Right.
Yeah, he's freaking got whatever.
Who does 2 jazz hands as a grown
happy
man?
Jazz hands. Well,
who does that?
Dan Carroll?
Oh, maybe Dan. But no, it's
sorry, Dan.
He had no. Don't be sorry. He has the fucking look about him though. Like you can
tell that under the surface that it's not right, and that
home life is not
all it's cracked up to be.
I lived in one of those, so I can kind of pick some of that out.
I'm sorry for that, and I would say that I encourage everybody leave, maybe we could put a link to that YouTube
Yeah.
deal so that people can go and watch the full
I still have it.
the full analysis of that clip by this guy who does a lot more smarter and picks up on things than we are. But
He did a great job.
Yeah, but I just saw the jerking and I was like, that's just not right. And then I forgot. You reminded me about I was the high school, college, or high school coach of the national or the state championship. No, you weren't.
Right.
You were like a JV coach or some sort of, the coach that
Jill said he's an angry elf.
I just think there's a lot of red flags there. And I wish people would do a little more research and just not say, oh, she's a woman and he must be a great guy because he's running with a woman.
Let me ask you this. Have you heard any interviews with his wife?
No.
I would like to know.
I haven't, and I haven't seen any stories on his wife, the way they seem to be doing lots of in-depth analysis of JD Vance's wife.
Right. I would like to know what his wife has to say. And obviously we know what it's going to say, but like, if you could break that down.
You could test that. Like if she's talking and you go up, like you're within camera shot and you go like this and she freaks out. She just loses it.
That's me every day I get home.
You deserve it.
Well, I do.
You deserve it. But I mean,
I love you, Joe.
I think the guy has some issues, and I think that I just think that I've seen signs that cause me pause and cause me concern.
Catherine Smith said, "Imagine Jill Biden ripping Joe's arm around on stage.
Oh,
That'd be
it'd probably come off.
Well, he'd fall. He'd
Well,
fall
no,
down.
You might rip that guy's arm out of socket.
Oh, he'd look like Dan Aykroyd in Nothing But Trouble, where his nose falls off.
I'm serious. I think you'd really rip his arm off. I mean, it's sad, and I mean, I'll just throw this out there since I'll ask everyone that has a parent. If you were somewhere, a football game, a public game, a pump, anywhere, grocery store, and you saw somebody yank their child's arm like that, would you give some thought to calling 241 Kids or the authorities or someone that could maybe look into it? And I'm asking you an honest question.
Or at the very least, say something.
Well, a lot of times people don't want to say anything because they're scared.
Well, 241 Kids doesn't fucking work.
Well, they may, but would you give it? Okay, I'll say it this way: if you saw it, you know how they say, "See something, say something."
Yeah. Would you say something?
If you saw it, would you consider? Would you be like, "Hey, that's not right"? I'm throwing that question out there. You can watch it on your own. I don't need to hear the answer, but I think that if you're honest with yourself and you go to that quiet place that you rarely go to, let's get deep. I think that you would probably say, yeah, I'd be concerned about that behavior.
And that was on national fucking television.
It was, but it was joy.
It was joy.
Joy.
There was nothing but joy right there.
It was joy. Did we left out a lot of stuff, didn't we? Did we pass over a lot of stuff?
We did. I mean, we still got a few minutes.
Well, you have things to do, and I'm sorry again that Jason doesn't monitor his time better and was late tonight.
Yeah, whatever.
And by the way, I've forgotten. It's been a while since I've driven down Beachmont Avenue at 5 o'clock.
Oh, it's a bitch.
Joy is not the word I would use.
Oh, I do want to hit this one. The Kamala and the wall.
Yeah. So if you've noticed, let me just preface. Let me build it.
Build it.
Kamala is now
Camelto.
changing her positions. You know, she was, she didn't want to tax tips, although she was the deciding vote on that very issue that made a ton of new IRS agents able to track your tips. So that's kind of funny. But she also now apparently is there's a couple of issues that she seems to be flip-flopping on, but nobody really knows because this is her handler saying this because no one's been able to ask Mrs. Harris her positions because she hasn't appeared for an interview or a press conference because they're following the prior administration, her administration, when she's VP, tactic of staying in the basement and being a deaf mute. But she now wants to build the wall, and she's pro border wall. And she's also, I heard, pro not anti-EV mandate, even though I've seen many videos of her promoting EVs and how they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And they're giving millions and millions of dollars to school districts to get what? Electric buses. So why don't we play that little clip of her about the wall?
A few things after this, by the way.
This issue is about a vanity project for this president.
Right.
And it is a problem of his own making.
Right.
And listen, when I travel this country, folks have plenty enough problems that they need their president to focus on instead of a wall that, by the way, because I was a prosecutor for many years, including the Attorney General of California, I specialize on transnational criminal organizations.
Yeah.
That wall ain't gonna stop them.
No.
That wall ain't gonna stop nobody. Come on, you.
That's fucking traffic.
That show
No
should
need to
be.
build a wall. This is a crisis of his own making. And by definition, just plain speak, basic English language definition, it is not an emergency. What's going to end up happening is that he will end up, without any question, if he proceeds, we're going to be looking at a situation where, in particular, homeowners and landowners in places like New Mexico and Texas are probably going to look at government taking their land. We're looking at military resources being focused, again, on the president's vanity project instead of focused on real national security issues.
That was a great clip. When you said that to me and I watched it, I was like, holy shit. I mean,
Yeah, so this is going to be fun because this election cycle, although your rabidly biased and liberal media will not report these things, the cool thing is that we can make commercials that show, and they've already started. Trump campaign has jumped all over it. We can show the American public her saying one thing and then now having a totally different position. If especially, and if there was a press conference, and I mean a press conference, I do not mean an interview where she can say something like, well, they can be like, well, Ms. Harris, on this date, you said this, yet today you're standing before us saying that. Please explain the difference. But I don't think you're going to see that happen.
right. I'm trying to find this one.
So, folks, it's going to be fun. 30 days left. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a jazz, man. It's going to be a jazz.
Here's the new ad. It shows Kamala Harris debating herself.
Oh yeah, this is what
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
yeah, and we're going to have countless commercials like that.
And whether that's actually true. I mean, it's so hard right now, especially podcasting when you're pulling stuff out, whether it's AI, whether it's not. It's still
No. That's an actual ad.
But it's still humorous.
No, because
But
there doesn't have to be AI. That's not AI material right there. That's just playing her words. Now, yeah, you can do AI to put the first words that were wrong in her mouth, but no, the Bidenomics clearly is her saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've seen the live clips of her saying the other thing about bread and meat and everything else. It's going to be great. And I just hope that people understand that what we're seeing is real, not AI, that she actually said these things. Though, somebody sent me a name for Kamala and I cannot say it. Words, no. We're trying to build the show and we don't want to alienate every female listener in one fell swoop. So,
one fell swoop.
And this is fell swoop. And this was sent to me by a woman, so I can't reveal who it sent it. But that being said, I don't know why I have seen even the New York Times came out and said something about her. She wants to tax unrealized gains, which is insane. And a liberal organization such as such said this is detrimental to the economy. I don't know what Kamala Harris believes because even to this date, you go to her page, guess what's not on there? Any of her policy positions. I will say this. The one thing that I think people are coming around to is Kamala Harris will say anything to anyone at any time to get elected. The one thing you cannot say about you cannot say the same about Donald Trump. You may hate his guts, but what you get, you know that what he says, he's either going to do or he believes. He's not going to change his tune to say different things to different audiences. He's very, very genuine. Now, some people say he's genuinely this or he's genuinely that and throw a derogatory remark in there. He is not fake like she is fake.
Right.
And that's why I think at the end of the day, people are going to go in there to the voting booth, especially in these swing states. And they're going to say, number one, I am not better off than I was 4 years ago. Things are harder. Everything costs more, even more than it should. And I am not going to continue to have a policy that has been in place for 4 years and somehow think it's going to get better. I mean, the very definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Then if you clinically would vote for Kamala Harris, you are in essence, doing something that could be defined as insane because you're doing the same thing, but you're going to be expecting different results. And that's just not normal.
We're gonna do a quick ad read before we get out of here.
Can I say one thing before we get out of here?
You can say 7 things.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. Something I want to mention, and this is a bit on the political nature, so bear with me. Not that this isn't a political show, but I encourage everybody, if you want to make a difference this election cycle and you want to get involved at any level, and you can work out of your house, you can work, you can do as much or as little as you're capable of doing. I encourage you to go to a website called TrumpForce47.com. That would be TrumpForce47.com. You will be able to register there, and then they do research you. They don't just willy-nilly let anybody join. But at that point, once they take you on, or once you get a username and password, you're able to download. Not only they can give you walking lists for your neighborhood, a very targeted walking list, they can also give you phone lists that you can sit at your house and make phone calls. You are able to then download and send out postcards or literature if you want. And this is research that's been done. They have very targeted lists. You can do as much as little as you like. I highly encourage everybody that's on this show that wants to get involved, but says, you know what, I can't do this or I can't do that, or I'm too old, or I don't want to walk, or I'm too out of shape in my case to walk. Well, you know what? You can sit at your home and make phone calls if you want to get involved, because what I don't want to have happen, I'm going to just keep hammering this. I don't want you to wake up the day after election day, if things don't go our way, and say, oh my God, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. That's a really bad feeling. Trust me, I experienced it this last election. So maybe if you want to get involved, please, I highly encourage you. The Ohio Republican Party is pushing this. The Trump campaign is pushing this. TrumpForce47.com. There's my plug.
I love it. And I've heard of that, seen it. I'm not signed up for it because I do things anyway. But
well, you're a busy guy. I mean, if it's not falling through roofs, it's
racking my nuts.
Rack them if you got them.
So speaking of which, we're going to talk about our buddy Dan Varner and the Varner Foundation for Children and Families. We want to take a moment to talk about foster care. We believe those who open their hearts and their homes to take care of kids are among who we believe are the most beneficial fucking people in this area. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, new shoes, tires for a car, the Varner Foundation will make sure that all of that happens. And foster care parents, 9 times out of 10, end up stop doing it because it's just too much. It is a ton. I know friends of mine that are foster parents, and they've got a ton of foster kids, and we've talked, and I've actually kind of got them hooked up with the Varner Foundation, and it's helped them out a ton.
Great cause.
But they're a 501c3 nonprofit. They enable foster care agencies to help in a hurry. And 100%, I'll take the drink since Andrew doesn't.
I have ice.
You have ice. But 100% of the money goes to that repair, that bed, that pair of shoes.
The need.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So make sure you check out if you want to donate something. Go to the Varner Foundation for Children and Families. Dan Varner's been a great friend of the show, and a great friend to the community,
and it's a great cause for the community.
And I can tell you, I've met a couple of the kids at some of the fundraisers that this foundation has helped, and it's actually astounding, like, to see it.
Yeah, changing lives. That's what Dan does.
And and I got to physically see it.
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
And we didn't even touch on some of the stories regarding children that we had to touch on today, about the border, about the Department of Homeland Security losing track of literally hundreds of thousands of children. You and I were discussing off the air that the movie The Sound of Freedom, was a powerful movie. It relates directly to that, and I don't think most people understand that Ohio, sadly, we have the designation of being one of the top states for child trafficking. So, the Varner Foundation stepping up, doing work like this is something, like you said, not only can you help them, but then you can see directly, meet the people that they help. And Dan has a huge heart. He's a great guy. I will probably not say this to his face.
I was waiting for that.
No, but Dan is a great guy, and he not only does he walk the walk, but he talks the talk. So I appreciate that.
So we potentially have Andrew's going to be out of town, but he may remote in. But
I may change that with the puppy. Where my life is in flux. Like I said, I just got to experience for the first time in 5 years the joy of seeing a dog pee on the floor in your house.
But we potentially have
how much I like that.
Have a guest, Congressman Brad Wenstrup, who we've had before.
Great man.
I'm just waiting on some confirmation. But Friday, potentially. I'm not sure what time yet. I'm waiting for them. But Brad, he was the chair of the Fauci congressional hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm
Dr. Brad,
correct? Congressman Dr. Brad.
So he knows how to hold a hearing regarding medical issues.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the first.
Did you see that?
That's one of the first congressional hearings I've ever sat and watched. I was sitting in this chair watching it, and I'm like, wow.
Did you see Fauci got hospitalized with God, I forget the illness now.
I saw it, but I can't remember.
It's a new illness. So he must be. It wasn't COVID. It was like some sort of flu, if I'm not mistaken. It was something nasty. And I was like, oh, they must be playing with a new disease now. Something. Oops, open the wrong jar.
Oh, we're coming up with election season. Weird.
Yeah. And did you also see? We'll have this on future shows. I mean, we're trying to sign off here. You got things to do. But did you see who's considering a run for governor?
I did not.
You didn't see?
No.
On the Democrat side?
No.
Give you a guess. It deals with COVID. Remember the fun days of COVID here in Ohio? Who did you watch every day?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Who? Dr. Amy Acton is considering a run for governor. So we'll have lots of material for those shows.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Yeah. I remember trying to run a business with Amy Acton and her pressers every day. God, that was annoying. Oh, so, and she's parlayed that remarkably. She said, now she stepped down because she couldn't handle the pressure of having the media spotlight on her.
But now she wants to run for
governor. Now she wants to run for governor. So we'll have to cast Saren's eye upon her and use the show to make her a little less comfortable than she otherwise would be.
But I'll keep you posted on Instagram and Facebook as to what time, if Friday is going to happen, and we will figure it out. But hey, we appreciate all of you guys.
Listening. Yep.
The chats were awesome tonight, and we will see you on the next go round.
Try to keep Jason on time next time. I apologize.